When you see the squares that make up Saoirse's blanket, you'll notice that each one is soft, perfect for snuggles. You might even be drawn to the lovely shades of pink and peach. Yet, what makes the blanket special is that each one of those squares is more than color or fabric. It's the link between the past and the present, the connection between a mother and son, and the transcending bond between an uncle and his unborn niece. At the beginning of 2019, it appeared as if everything in life could not be any better. Being the proud mother of four amazing humans, Michael, Christina, Melissa, and Michelle, I was thrilled that this year our family was celebrating 2 weddings and that a new baby would arrive before Christmas. Everyone was excited. In May, my grandson Christopher and his bride Christina had a beautiful wedding. The weather was perfect as the couple exchanged vows in the open air. Surrounded by family and friends, they pledged their commitment to each other. For my son Michael, there was nothing more joyful than getting together with all the people he loved, his family, and definitely his friends. Those were the moments that were precious to him. However, there was one daunting distraction that was blended into the mix. Mike had been battling cancer for 3 years. Yet, to be honest, it was hard for us to tell. He hid his pain and his struggles behind a brave face, positive attitude, and he would always show up. My daughter Melissa and her husband Bob were looking forward to becoming first-time parents. In June, there was a gender reveal. It took place on the grounds of a local golf course close to where they lived. Would the baby be a boy or a girl? My youngest daughter, Michelle, was the only one who knew the sex of the baby and took care of the details. Then, with one strike of the match, no, it actually took a couple of tries. Eventually, the smoke bomb ignited, and soon all of us were surrounded by a huge cloud of bright pink smoke. It's a girl! The entire family was excited, and now we were all anxiously awaiting the arrival of our newest member. Yet, just as the direction of the wind can change in the blink of an eye, so can life. It was mid-August when Michael's illness took a turn. He lost the ability to walk, and swallowing became difficult. He was admitted to the hospital for some tests to see what was wrong. I decided to take some time off work to be with Michael and keep him company. Most days, I would go to the hospital early in the afternoon and stay there until Maria, Mike's wife, arrived. On occasion, I would wheel Mike through the hospital, visiting doctors' offices, to say hi to the nurses and office staff, or we'd go outside to enjoy the fresh air and views of the city. Our go-to activity was watching movies on his iPad. His favorites included Full Metal Jacket, Zombieland, and a series called The Orville, especially Season 2, Episode 4. There were many challenging moments facing the reality of his declining health. Yet, every time I felt myself tearing up, just seeing how brave my son was gave me the strength to hold it together. He knew he was dying, but he also knew that this was an opportunity to reconcile differences, say all that needed to be said, and to lay the foundation for his legacy. Of course, a great deal of the time, Michael would be sleeping, and I would just sit there watching him like I used to when he was young. I would often pray that his body would find the strength to heal. I wanted nothing short of a miracle. Then one afternoon, I got the urge to knit. I don't know why, but that was something I wanted to do. Since I had a granddaughter arriving soon, I decided to attempt to knit her a blanket. My mother was a fabulous knitter, but me, not so much. I can cast on, knit, and purl, but that's about it. After watching a few how-to knit videos on YouTube, I got some needles and yarn and started knitting. Every day while visiting Michael, as soon as he began to doze off, I pulled out my knitting needles. The pattern that I was following was easy, or so it stated on the instructions. Make several squares, sew them together, and voila! You have a baby blanket. One afternoon, while I was knitting, Michael woke up and asked, "Hey, Ma, what are you doing?" "I'm knitting a blanket for the baby. See?" I took out the finished squares and handed them to him. Curiously, Michael picked up two of the squares and raised them up to his face, gently kissing them. He examined each one carefully. "You're doing a good job, Ma. I think the baby will love it. The wool is so soft, and I like the colors too." Bobsha used to knit. I still remember her making me a sweater with bowling pins on the back, Mike said, smiling. Tenderly, he handed the squares back to me. "Wow, that's right. I'd forgotten." Bobsha also knit a blue coat and matching hat for Christina. I wonder what happened to those. "I'm pretty sure we outgrew them," Michael said jokingly. We both laughed. A new ritual began that day. I didn't just reserve knitting for the times Michael was sleeping. I did it all the time, while my son supervised every stitch. One day, I remember that it was dull and dreary outside. When I arrived at the hospital, Michael looked happy to see me and smiled as I was pulling out my yarn and needles. "Still knitting the blanket?" he asked. "Oh, yeah, I've got a lot more squares to make. I'm not as quick as Bobsha was." Michael motioned for me to come over to him, and then, with a sincere look on his face, he said, "I want you to know that I wish I had been a better son." Those words caught me off guard. I could feel the tears forming fast, but I didn't want him to see me cry. Did my lack of expressing my love make him think that he wasn't a good son? I took a deep breath and responded, "Oh, Mike, you are the best son. I wouldn't trade you for the world. I am so proud of you. I hope you know that. I love you so much, Michael." That was the truth. I leaned over and kissed him on his forehead. Our conversation continued. He had to let out his feelings. For him, it was a time of reconciliation. I was there to listen to every truth he wanted revealed. I should have been there for Christopher and Marcus more. "Michael, they know you love them. I've seen you at their hockey games, and they always talk about their Uncle Mike." "I need to tell Christina. I want her to know that I really do care." Michael and Maria spent a great deal of time with her family. Maria's parents loved Mike like a son, and she had lots of nieces and nephews that he became close to. Funny fact, he was given the nickname Dirty Mike, a nod to the movie The Other Guys. Mike was that one uncle that all the kids loved. Funny, competitive, smart, and very liberal, so they could get away with a lot around him. As I cast off the last row of my current knitted square, I knew how my son was feeling and explained to him, "Letting Christopher and Marcus know that you wanted to share more time with them is an extraordinary gift." I could also tell he was thinking about his unborn niece, the baby girl he was looking forward to soon holding. In the middle of September, the conversations shifted to Michelle and AJ's wedding and Melissa's baby shower, both a week apart. Since it was difficult for Michelle's father David to stand, the plan was for Michael to walk her down the aisle. Being hospitalized, Michael was unable to physically be there. On the day of the wedding, we decorated his hospital room, and through the magic of FaceTime, Mike and Maria both watched Michelle and AJ get married. 2 days later, the entire family got dressed up again, even the bride and groom, and surprised Michael at the hospital. We captured some amazing family photos. It was an incredibly good day. On the following Sunday was a shower to celebrate the upcoming arrival of baby Saoirse. Michael wanted to hear all about it. He mentioned to me several times about how nice it would be to have a baby girl around. There are many things that I would teach her, he said while watching me focus on counting stitches and rows. I listened to every word intently as I continued knitting. Believe in her dreams and never doubt in her ability to succeed. That with hard work, commitment, and integrity, she will achieve anything she sets her mind to. A powerful tool is to possess a positive attitude and, most importantly, to surround herself with good people. Leave the drama for the movies. I know she will learn a great deal from you, Mike, I said. I meant it. My son was the smartest person I knew. Oh, and the 49ers, Blue Jays, and Maple Leafs, not the Canucks, are the best sports teams ever, Michael chuckled. A few weeks later, Michael found out that there was nothing more they could do to battle the cancer. Still, he was determined to fight to the very end and asked the doctor, "So, how famous am I going to be when I beat this?" I knew he was half joking, but I could sense a glimmer of hope in his words. It was a matter of time. He could no longer eat and got his nourishment through a feeding tube. He couldn't get up or walk any longer, and it was advised that he go to a palliative care hospital or hospice. Maria wouldn't hear of it and put the plan in motion to care for him at their home. The home that belonged to my father, to me, and now to him. By the time Michael arrived back home, I was still working on the blanket. One afternoon, while we were playing Monopoly on his PS4, he asked, "How is the baby blanket coming along?" "It's almost done, just getting ready to stitch all the squares together." Then Michael said the strangest thing which caught me off guard. "Mom, I'm worried." I didn't know what to say. The truth was that I was worried too. I did my best to acknowledge him and then got up, held his hand, and whispered, "I know you are, Michael. I'm worried too, but you are strong and so brave." In that moment, there was a silent message that was echoing in my heart. And then came the words that I would convey one day to that beautiful little girl that he knew he would never hold. I want her to know that I love her. We visited Mike almost every day in the weeks that followed, hanging on to each precious moment. On November 17th, 2019, Michael John Zajac passed away. He was surrounded by his family and many of his good friends. He was a son, brother, husband, uncle, nephew, cousin, friend, coach, and so much more to so many people. Michael lived an extraordinary life. 9 days later, on November 26, 2019, Saoirse Rose arrived, a perfect little bundle of joy. By the time she was born, I had completed the blanket. I used every knitted square except for two, the ones that Michael kissed. One was given to his sister Christina, and the other to his baby niece, Saoirse. Although, if you saw Saoirse's blanket, you would notice a few subtle imperfections, like a dropped stitch here and there and bulky edges. Despite those little flubs, it is still perfect for snuggles. Mike didn't get to hold baby Saoirse, but he left her a legacy of love, one that she can wrap around her shoulders and that is filled with strength, courage, wisdom, humor, and even a few kisses from Saoirse's angel, Uncle Mike.